Amazon have released their first ever golf ball, the Core Soft from their Basics range. Priced at somewhere in the region of $1 a golf ball or £17 a dozen in the UK, it's a really good budget-friendly option in terms of price point, but how does it perform in the hands of average swing speed mid-handicap golfers just like myself? Well, today we're going to find out by putting it through its paces on GC Hawk behind us, collecting all the data sets, comparing it to benchmark data and seeing how good this golf ball really is and finding out whether you should put it in your bag or just put it in the bin. Let's get stuck in. So just in case you're new to my channel, I'm going to tell you how I do my ball reviews. I'm going to be in this bay for the next 2 hours collecting large data sets through the bag. I'm going to start off by testing the short game performance by hitting a 20-yard pitch shot with a 60-degree wedge. We're then going to move up to hitting full shots with pitching wedge, 7-iron and driver. I'm going to be benchmarking the data against the Titleist Pro V1, which I'll be hitting off of camera first. The reason I do that is because I do it in all of my videos and it allows me to draw better conclusions based on how I'm swinging the golf ball on the day and the data that I'm seeing from the test golf ball. That's not to say I'm expecting this golf ball to compete with the Pro V1, it just allows good benchmarking. I will show you a subset of the shots that I hit with the Amazon Basics golf ball, and I'll talk you through my immediate reaction in terms of feels and sounds in the bay and call out any of the data points that are standing out to me as I'm hitting the shots. We'll then go home after each section and dissect all of that data side by side, and at the end of the video we'll give you some conclusions on just how good this golf ball is, who may consider playing it, and alternatives you may want to consider. Right, let's set up the test and start with that 20-yard pitch shot. First shot with this golf ball, let's see how it performs on camera. Definitely feels like it wanted to jump right off of the face there. It sounded, compared to that Pro V1, it sounds incredibly dull and it sounds weird actually. It sounded almost like I was hitting a bit of metal. Definitely wants to pop right up off of the face. Hit that a little bit firmer, but I'm interested to see what spin rate I was able to get out of that. Yeah, 4,000, that's a little bit better. Like good ones with the Pro V1 are around 5,000. Flew that one just a little bit too far. But again, normally more speed adds more spin. Certainly, definitely a little bit more there. That one's nice. Just wants to jump off the face. So actually controlling distance, moving from the Pro V1 to this has been a little bit more difficult actually because, like I say, where it wants to explode off, I'm just feeling like I need to hit it softer and softer. So first impressions in short game, it delivers very similar feels and sounds to lots of other two-piece budget-friendly golf balls at this sort of price point, and therefore does feel very comparable to me. In terms of the data, was getting the impression it was doing what most golf balls in this price point do as well, launching a little bit higher, spinning a little bit less. But let's go home and let's look at all that data and see how it performs in the short game. Right, let's take a look at the data from that 20-yard pitch shot. Now, like most budget-friendly golf balls that I've tested, the Amazon Basics did want to jump off the club face a little bit hotter, and therefore it's no surprise to me to see a higher smash factor of 0.97 versus 0.92. The standard deviation does show the Amazon Basics was less consistent, but I always think that when I'm trying to hit a certain number on a partial swing, my variability as the 11 handicap golfer in this test does show up the most, more than the other 3 tests that we do, and I'm therefore really keen not to judge any golf ball overly harshly in this part of the test. In terms of spin rates, it's completely normal to see a golf ball like the Amazon Basics deliver a lower spin rate in a short game shot versus a premium golf ball. However, I'm used to seeing numbers that are closer to 500 RPM less spin, so the 1000 RPM less spin that we've seen from the Amazon Basics is a little bit lower than what I'm usually seeing. Consistency of the spin rate, however, is good, as shown by that standard deviation being almost identical to the Pro V1. Again, it's very typical for a golf ball at this price point to launch significantly higher than a premium golf ball. So to see the Amazon Basics deliver 4.2 degrees more launch angle, 2.2 feet of additional peak height, and 4.2 degrees steeper land angle is very normal. Once again though, the consistency of the Amazon Basics versus the Titleist Pro V1 is very impressive. Now this is a bit of data that might surprise some of you, particularly if you haven't seen some of my ball reviews before, but it isn't actually that unusual. The Amazon Basics actually stops quicker than the Titleist Pro V1 with just 4.3 yards of rollout versus 4.9 yards. This is because the steeper land angle actually offsets the lower spin rate. Overall, a good set of starting numbers from the Amazon Basics. Let's see how it continues in the pitching wedge. That's so interesting. The sound, having come from Pro V1, straight away is so different. It's soft. It doesn't even sound like club and ball are making contact on that first one, which is really interesting. Just a big draw. The one thing I would say is because of that sort of feel of how soft it is, and also because of the sound it's making, I'm not getting any feedback on how good or bad I've struck the golf ball. Now, when I review golf clubs that are designed for game improvement golfers, I often say that about them, say actually sometimes that's a good thing because you don't lose that confidence on the golf course of feeling this horrible shot. With a golf ball, I do like to feel a little bit of feedback though, because I like to know what it's done or have an idea of what it's done. But again, the higher handicap player or the person playing this golf ball, they might not want that. It definitely launches so high. You can see there as well, like carried 114, totaled 117. Like there's 3 yards of rollout on a simulator green. Like we'll take that, right? I can't argue with it. It's not doing anything. Again, we'll always go home and look at the data because that's when I can make better conclusions. But it's not doing anything as I'm here in the bay that's making me go, I'm panicked by its performance in this part of the test. Lovely one to finish on. So first impressions on those pitching wedge shots. Feels are incredibly soft, sounds are incredibly dull. You really can't even notice or feel club and ball coming together. And if you like that real soft feel and that feeling of compression, I think you'll really like this golf ball in this part of the test. In terms of performance, we obviously need to go home and look at all that data, but I think it's doing like lots of other golf balls at this price point in terms of delivering some good distances. The spin rates are okay, and that ball flight is a little bit higher and loopier, which again, for the average golfer, is another way of stopping the golf ball because you've got that stronger descent angle. But let's go home and look at all those numbers and see if that's backed up in the data. Right, let's deep dive into that pitching wedge data. Now, smash factors with both these golf balls were identical, showing me that the Amazon Basics is just as fast as a premium golf ball in this part of the test. However, I did swing it slightly faster during my benchmarking with the Pro V1, so we do need to bear that in mind as we look at the rest of this data set. Consistency was marginally worse with the Amazon Basics, but it's good enough that golfers just like me, I don't think we'd notice it out on the golf course because it was very close. Now, like I would have predicted, the spin rate with the Amazon Basics were lower. However, this time they were much more typical of what I'm used to seeing when I test budget-friendly golf balls at only 500 RPM lower than the Pro V1. Spin consistency with the Amazon Basics, though, once again was seriously impressive, outperforming the Pro V1 ever so slightly. Now, ball flights were also very similar, with the Amazon Basics launching a fraction higher, which again feels very normal for a budget-friendly golf ball when I test it. Peak heights were only 6 inches lower, and land angles were identical. But once again, the consistency of the Amazon Basics is brilliant, marginally better than the 3 times more expensive Pro V1. Now, whilst the Amazon Basics was 3.3 yards shorter in terms of carry distance, this is mainly due to that slower delivery that we've already spoke about. Now, I do think if my club head speed was the same, given that fraction lower spin rate and near identical ball flight, I'd have expected the Amazon Basics to be a fraction longer. But because of that identical ball flight and lower spin rate, the Amazon Basics doesn't stop as quickly, rolling out 3.1 yards versus 2.2 with the premium golf ball. But this does feel very minor for me for the significant difference in price point. Interestingly though, just like in that 20-yard pitch shot, the Amazon Basics was slightly less consistent when it came to its distance control. Again, some promising numbers from the Amazon Basics. How does it perform in the mid-iron? Let's find out. Definitely maintaining that absolute softness and dullness off of the face versus that more premium sort of clippier Pro V1 for sure. It does remind me quite a lot in terms of feel to something like a Callaway Super Soft, TaylorMade Speed Soft, Wilson Duo Soft, any of those golf balls at that sort of price point. It definitely can get out there, which again, doesn't surprise me. A lot of these low spinning, budget friendly golf balls, they try and give you stopping power through the launch, the height, and ultimately the descent angle, the land angle is how they try and stop. They're not doing it through spin, and that lack of spin is normally what causes the distance. Another one that's not bad at all. That one stopped a little bit quicker. Yeah, look, I've pulled that a little bit, right? Pull draw it, which always adds a bit of distance, but I did that a few with the Pro V1, and they are long. That might be as long as we've hit one today. But again, it's because of that low spin. That's a lovely one. So first impressions on that mid iron. Feels are very similar to what we've seen throughout the testing. Feels incredibly soft, really can feel that compression, particularly here as we're moving up to a mid iron. Sounds again are incredibly dull as the club and ball come together. And in terms of its performance, I think it's performing very similar to other golf balls at this price point. You are getting that good bit of distance, and that's caused by a fraction lower spin rate. And then you're trying to see if you've got enough control from the descent angle to try and hold that green. So let's go home and let's look at the data and let's see how it truly performed. Right, let's deep dive into that 7-iron data. Now, once again, the Amazon Basics is defying what we've always been told, that cheaper, softer golf balls are slow, because the smash factor once again has matched the Titleist Pro V1. And this time the consistency of ball speeds and smash factors of the Amazon Basics were identical or marginally better than the Pro V1. Spin rates, like in the pitching wedge part of the test, are highly comparable to what I see from so many rival golf balls, with mid-iron performance being about 500 RPM lower than a premium golf ball like the Pro V1. Now, it's worth noting that I think spin rate of 4000 RPM with a 7-iron is too low. However, this is the reason why I benchmark in all of my ball reviews, because even the data with the Titleist Pro V1 is about 500 RPM lower than what I would be on my best delivery day. As a result, I expect the Amazon Basics to be capable of getting spin rates of about 4,500 off of the mat and close to over 5,000 off of the grass. Now, whilst the consistency of the spin was a little bit worse, it is still very good compared to what I usually see at this price point. Ball flights did match exactly what we saw in the pitching wedge part of the test, with the Amazon Basics launching that marginally bit higher, apexing a couple of inches higher and landing just as steeply. Now, I'm starting to sound like a broken record here, but once again, the consistency of this golf ball is really, really impressive. Now, this data was what I was expecting to see in the pitching wedge part of the test if my club head speeds were identical, with the Amazon Basics 0.6 yards longer due to that slightly lower spin rate from a near identical ball flight. Stopping power with mid-irons is where you often have to make a compromise at this price point of golf ball, and the Amazon Basics is no different. Rolling out 9 yards versus 7 yards with a Pro V1, that's about 25 to 30% more rollout onto the green with a budget-friendly golf ball. However, for the first time, we've actually seen the Amazon Basics match the consistency of the Pro V1 when it comes to distance. Again, another strong set of numbers. Can it keep it up as we move into the driver? I've just hung back on it, first one out. It's got a chance of being good. It's the perfect delivery for me, a little draw. That's long. That's a pretty good golf shot. It might be even the longest drive of the day. 240 total, 226 in the air and spinning at 2-1. Hello. Now, this is interesting because in the bay, I'm sitting here going, is it a bad golf ball? Absolutely not. Is it comparable to everything else out on the market at a similar price point? Absolutely. But if it starts to do that with the driver and can separate itself from those golf balls, that could be really interesting. I felt like I hit that great. It's good. It's hard to argue with these good ones. I'm probably going to admit there's a part of me that as a golfer, I love Amazon, right? I love Amazon, it's brilliant. But there's a part of me maybe as a golfer that came in here today and wanted this golf ball to not be great because I want to support the golf brands, the genuine golf brands. When Amazon enter a marketplace, it can sometimes kill the competition because of just the way they're able to operate. And therefore, you want to protect some of the brands. Now, whilst we're supportive of innovation and some of the smaller brands trying to make a breakthrough, some of the DTC brands, it's really hard to be negative on this part of the test with this golf ball in terms of the distance it's delivering, because with the driver, like I say, that's not normally what I see with these golf balls at this price point. They normally spin up, lose distance, and that's normally a massive negative. And then you get the confidence to hit that one, which I think is long. Oh, it's huge. It's absolutely huge. It's nearly flown the 230 to the pin. 226 through the air, joint longest carry that we've had, spinning at 2-1. It's fantastic. Stay there, stay there, stay there. Oh, it's long again. It really is. And now the problem is I want to hit more with it because I actually am starting to believe in it. There it is. That's going to be huge. Come on. 220 again. Now I must admit, I wasn't expecting that performance in the driver part of the test. And now I'm a little bit surprised. And now I've gone from, meh, it's okay, it's like any other golf ball at this price point, to maybe it's better than a few of those options. Now we need to go home and look at all that data side by side just to see if that's the reality. But in the bay, I'm really impressed with this part of the test. So the moment of truth, is the data backing up what I just felt in the bay? Well, let's start on the left-hand side, and you can see for the first time in my test, the club head speed was actually faster with the Amazon Basics data set, and we can see near identical smash factors, which is a massive plus for the Amazon Basics, as I usually see slower numbers from budget-friendly golf balls with the driver. As we've seen throughout the test, the Amazon Basics has delivered incredible consistency versus its price point. Now this is the second data point that surprised me. The Amazon Basics actually span less than the Titleist Pro V1. This is the exact opposite to what I usually see from similar price point golf balls, and suddenly makes the Amazon Basics a very interesting offering. Add to that the fact that once again the spin rate was marginally more consistent is another big tick for this golf ball. This data set continues to surprise me, as they always say you want high launch and low spin with the driver, and the Amazon Basics has beaten the Titleist Pro V1 in both areas, as the launch angle was fractionally higher and the overall ball flight a touch flatter. The one negative, however, is the consistency of that ball flight was worse with the Amazon Basics, and that could be due to my delivery, or it could be a compromise that you have to make with this golf ball. And here's the mic drop moment. Yes, I did have 0.7 mile an hour more ball speed on average, but that combination of high launch, lower spin has meant the Amazon Basics was longer on average than the Titleist Pro V1, with 3.2 yards of additional carry and 3.5 yards more total distance. Again, like we've seen in every part of the test bar the 7-iron, the Amazon Basics was marginally less consistent than the Titleist Pro V1, but not significant and no more than its rival golf balls. So as I said in the bay, I didn't want to like this golf ball, but I do. It performs as good as its rivals in the short game, pitching wedge and 7-iron part of the test, and when it comes to driver, it outperforms so many similar golf balls at the same price point, and therefore it's a really credible option for the high handicap golfer or the mid handicap golfer who is budget conscious, and at this price point just pick a dozen up and give them a test for yourself. Now for me personally, I would still choose something like the Titleist Truefield, Strixon AD 333 or Q-Star as it's known in some regions, or the Wilson Duo Soft. Three golf balls that I absolutely love at this price point for their all-round performance, and the reason for that is we are still not yet to see the consistency and quality control of this golf ball over a period of time, but there'll be other content creators and golf establishments like My Golf Spy that will test that for us over the coming months, and then we'll get a feel for just how good this golf ball truly is. Now, if you've got some value out of this video and you'd like to return the favour, then all you need to do is hit that thumbs up button. That lets YouTube know that golfers just like you may be interested in watching this video. And normally at this point, I'd say if you're not a subscriber, please hit that button that's about to pop up on screen. But instead, I've got a different favour for you. There's a long-term subscriber to this channel called John. He let me know in the comments section the other day that he's unfortunately seriously unwell and he's back in the UK recovering. And what I would love to do is flood this comment section with well wishes for John, so that when he does get the energy to watch this video, he can read the comment section and see all the energy and outpouring of love from you guys in the community, and it will inspire him and help him with his recovery. John, send in loads of love and best wishes your way, buddy. I really hope this video just gives you that little pause and that little bit of respite in your recovery for 15 to 20 minutes, mate. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.